is Simon Muller from Switzerland. And ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank you for that warm welcoming and indeed inviting me to this beautiful ceremony with lighting up that candle. Thank you very much. Autech is a family-based Swiss company with that headquarters in the north of Switzerland in Rupperswil. It was established in the 1990s, so we have quite over 30 years of experience when it comes to rail grinding, rail welding, and measurement technology. We have an in-house construction as well as manufacturing. So all our products are invented in-house there by us. And then we have a worldwide distribution as well as we do maintenance and retail service all over the world. We also invented our own measurement technology and our own software. So here is a little overview about our presence in the world. As you can see, it's North and South America. We are very strong presented in Europe as well as in the East and Australia. And together with my dear colleague from Nafketan, we are now also trying to help you out in India with our solutions.
Good afternoon. So I'll just take you through what Nafketan does. Most of you might be knowing that we've been involved in the railways and metro sector for the last 30 and 40 years. We were pioneers in introducing the portable welding DC generators back in the day, and it was used for in situ welding and sold in thousands across the country in all divisions. We were also introducers in 2003 of mobile flashboard welding plants, which were associated with Holland LP of USA. So we have been contractors as well and suppliers, and we handle the services of around 80-85 machines all over India for flashboard welding units. We are also partnering with ELPA, which is a Slovenian company for track lubrication and onboard lubrication systems, which are very much in requirement in Indian railways as well as in metro coaches and metro tracks. We are also manufacturers of rail-cum-road attachments and vehicles. As you can see, this is a picture of one of our railroad vehicles. So we can do a plethora of options on the railroad attachment with a container, with an RMC mixer, with different kinds of cranes, scissor lifts, which we also build in-house. We are also trying to develop new products like going into the excavator with our railroad attachment, some self-propelled trolleys. So this is an overview of what we can do with the railroad attachments. And now going ahead, Simon will take you through what and why we require rail grinding for in metros.
So as you have a lot of construction going on in India, so what are the arguments for reprofiling the railways? Of course, it's a safe travel, a safe wheel-rail contact to the rail, then extending the lifetime of the rail and avoiding emissions, and reducing vibrations to the ballast as well as to the train chassis. So overall, all these maintenance you do is reducing the total cost of maintenance. So as you have a lot of construction going on, nobody wants to spend money if it's not necessary, right? So let me just guide you through a few bad effects that can happen to the rails. So when you have a lot of numbers of trails passing the rail, or you have heavy axle loads, it can cause that what we call corrugation, that waving you see in the upper right picture. And through heavy loads, also material fatigue, as my colleague mentioned before with material techniques, it can cause the rail to even break out some material out of the structure. Then we have got head checks. It's like a hit on the rail that can root very deeply, and it can even cause the rail to crack at the end in worst case. So, and the rail section error is maybe one of the worst, because when you lose that cross profile with the radius, what you should have actually, it can cause the rail to climb up at the radius and can, in worst case, even causing a derailing of the rail, which also affects human life at the end. So what we can do about it to maintain a safe travel and a safe cargo? We can continuously reshape the rail, the longitudinal and the square profile of the rail. We can smoothen the rail after and between the grinding, which we also have machines invented for. And we remove the hardened shift, because you have a hard shift on the rails after many, many passings of the train. And we remove this hard shift because it can cause easily the rail to crack open. And of course, that maintains a good rolling contact from the rail to the track. Here you see a longitudinal profile with that waving I mentioned before. So it's 0.2 millimeters deep, and one period from the highest part to the lowest part can be from 150 up to 200 millimeters, right? So Autech invented a unique technology to maintenance this kind of error on the rail. So with our double shaft technology, which is mechanically connected to each other, for this system it's not possible to grind the lowest part of the error until the train is not flat. As an example, so here we can see, as you see, the left part of the rail as well as the right part of this wave is grinded already, but not the lowest part of this error. When you imagine you would have just one shaft instead of two connected, the shaft would just follow the error, and it will take you much more time to erase it and make it even again. So with the double shaft technology that's unique, invented by Autech, you're much faster making these maintenance and have a good quality of the rail. Here you can see with our 12 stone vehicles, you have three double shaft packages on each side, which can set from an angle of -72 degrees inside of the machine up to 20 degrees outside of the machine. So like that you can grind the whole square profile, also with the important radius inside to avoid the rail wheel to climb up the radius. This is how it looks like after grinding. As you see, from the right side onto the left side, there starts the radius by -70 degrees, and you have these small facets that gets grinded by less pressure, and then the pressure gets higher once you get on the head of the rail. How can I start it? Yeah. Just to visualize that, we have a short video. So you see how the angles get set. And then grinding starts. All right, then we come to the credo of our company. So Autech is manufacturing it all. So we believe in measurement, monitoring, and maintenance, the 3 M's. So it's all provided by Autech. First, you measure your rail to detect an error. And then you analyze and feed your rail cloud software that's also invented by Autech. And you make predictions and studies about where to grind and in what kind of shape is my track. And then obviously you take our machines and you go on track on your construction sites and you grind that rail in new shape. The different kinds of products in measurement technology. We have held hand devices who can be carried by one guy and measured before and after grinding, up to autonomous systems and whole measurement vehicles. that can measure all the important values like gauge, square profile, longitudinal profile, etc. Our most common device is the RML 3000, who can be carried by a normal operator. So once he goes on the construction site, he just sets that rail monitor on the track, and it will measure the square profile, and he knows exactly this is what the interface looks like. So on top you can see he knows exactly on which part of the ankle the error is set. So you see you have an error. Do I have a laser here? Yeah, at the left upper corner you can see you have an error of 0.05 millimeters at an angle of almost 70 degrees. And on the lower part of the picture you can see it's more a visualization for the worker that he can see exactly at this angle I have to grind a little bit more to get the rail in shape, right? Then we also have the bidirectional cross profile measurement, which relies on laser technique, and it's also measuring the gauge and all the other important values. The interface, of course, it's not much to say. It looks quite similar, but besides to the rail monitor, you have the profile on the left and on the right side, as well as the gauge at the same time. Then we come into the rail axis. So you can see this one as the Maserati of our measurement devices. It can measure all the important values that I mentioned before. And the good thing is, the good advantage you have, that you can mount it on a normal train or a metro, and it can measure up to 100 kilometers an hour. So you can gather quite a lot of data in a short amount of time. When you imagine you have two of them just sharing it with your lines going out of your city. And then, of course, you have a lot of data. You measured all that stuff, and you have got a lot of data. Now, what you want to do with this data is upload it in the rail cloud that's also invented by Autech. As the name says, it's a cloud-based database solution with a very handy and smart user cockpit. So what it does, what you see in the upper side, what it does is actually from the RailServe MM3000, all that measurement devices who are invented by Autech, you take all these data and feed the rail cloud with it, you upload it. And afterwards, you can take out from it engineering documentation, maybe for your end customers. They want to have documentation, what you did, how was the rail before, how was the rail after. And you can also manage your construction sites. It's very easy. This is how it could look like. So you have green zones, red zones, and after you gathered some data, maybe over a few days, over some weeks, the best over some years, you gather all this data and you feed the rail cloud with it, and you get this map where you can see the green areas and the red areas that must be maintained soon. You can also make analysis to make then predictive, we call it predictive maintenance. When you take data from the past, you can make more or less predictions for the future, right? And then the software can tell you which part of the rail must be grinded soon. Now my colleague will explain you maybe the advantage for the Indian markets of our machines.
Yeah. Thank you, Simon. Yeah. So coming to the last of the 3 M's, which is the maintenance part of it, Autech has provided and delivered machines all across the globe, and doing all types of grinding which are required at different stages of a metro rail network. So the different types of grinding are preventive grinding, corrective grinding. Even before the CRS gives approval, you have to do new rail grinding, as well as switch grinding for the switches. So all of these can be done with one single rail grinding machine from Autech, which is a unique thing in itself. So the AT2200 is their flagship rail grinding machine. It has a grinding capacity of 300 meters per hour, which is quite fast. It is 12-stone machine, and it also has a dust extraction system, which is at a capacity of 10,000 metric cubes per hour. It has a machining range, as explained by Simon, of -70 to 20 degrees. and mounted on a rail cum road vehicle. So that is one of the unique concepts of Autech, is that it's mounted on a rail cum road vehicle, so the versatility of movement across different metros or even inter-depot movement is quite great in that. Apart from the flagship product which I just explained, there are other smaller machines as well, depending on the size of the requirement of grinding. So ranging from a 2-stone machine, which is right there on the right bottom you see, we have a 4-stone, 8-stone and a 12-stone machine which have little lesser grinding capacity than the 80-20-200. So all different types of metros can get catered to with the range of products which Autech has. Now just a brief about the metro network in India. As you all know, currently there are about 700 kilometers of operational network of metros in India, which is expanding as we speak. There are new projects being commissioned all along and new DPRs being submitted across the country for newer cities. So approximately 1200 more kilometers are going into operation very soon. So that is quite a big number of around 2000 kilometers of metro rail networks across the country, which will require continuous grinding to keep it in shape if we want those metro networks to last. So therein rail grinding becomes a very important issue. Now the benefits, so I'll just sum up, this is the last slide. So the benefits of Autech rail grinders versus the conventional rail grinders which Indian Railways uses and some of the metros use is that those are rail-bound machines, and those are quite big and quite sturdy, and to transport them from one place to another is extremely difficult. Gauge conversion is extremely difficult for them. It takes around 20 days to convert the gauges if required for that. So what we provide is, in a single machine we do switch grinding, which requires another machine for the conventional machines. We can grind the rails in the very tight corners in the curves where there are a lot of guide and check rails. So that part is very important because that is the part which gets eroded the most at the curves. So we do that with special disc technology which can be changed with the grinding stones, and we can do that. It is also capable of grinding in systems where there is a third rail which is running right across the metro network. So we don't interfere with the third rail with special protective systems which we have. Second important point is the enhanced productivity potential. So as I explained, with a rail cum road vehicle which we have, we can easily off-track it from any part of the depot and take it to another depot and get it on track for the 3-hour block which we have at night in metros, so that the spark time is as much as possible. So the productivity is quite large. Even say for example, you have to shift the rail grinding equipment to 2 different cities. Now from Delhi it needs to go to Meerut, for example. So if it is a rail wagon, what happens is you have to give tenders for just transporting the equipment. But for our system you don't have to do that. You just have to take it off track, send it across through road at around 60 kilometers per hour, and it reaches there within probably a day, and you can start grinding there. So that saves a lot of time for the metros and makes it efficient and achieves the rail grinding goals which they have. Third and fourth point, so the global experience is quite large, as he mentioned, that they are across all continents almost, and the synergy is great because they are doing it all in one house. So they have the measuring, monitoring and maintenance equipment all in one place, which otherwise would take us different vendors and a lot of different liaisoning with these 3 vendors. So that was about our technology and Autech. So we thank you for your time to listening to us. Thank you.